It's been a while since we've messed around with this beautiful mod. This is Colonize Please with only the capitals enabled. Aside from the migratory natives of North South America as well as over in Oceania, every nation in the world has been reduced to just their capital. And those nations all have access to the Colonize Please buff, giving them money, colonists, settler chance, as well as a governing capacity, because they're going to be conquering a lot of land very, very quickly. Basically, if they are able to colonize, they will get the modifier. The colonial range is basically just to keep it so they colonize what's next to them, and once they unlock technologies, which they are likely to embrace, expansion ideas, they will start colonizing overseas. You guys know how paradox AI can be, so, I gotta give them a little nudge in the right direction sometimes. Who you guys got? Let us know in the comments below. I think any nation that can get lots of lands in the steppes as well as over in China is always a good shout, always. But keep in mind the development of Europe is very big. There's a lot of development. Nations like France with all of their subjects will probably have issues with that. And the HRE is probably going to grow quite a bit if I had to guess. Should be a lot of fun. If you're looking forward to it, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate that. And if you want to support me like a true Giga Chad, check out the Patreon linked in the description. But you know that there's only one way to find out what's going to happen. That's to turn it on up to speed 5 and unpause. And things are going to go very quickly. It's going to be pretty laggy as people start to kind of figure out the logic. A lot of nations are going to get cut off here in the interior of Germany. But yeah, we're going to see a lot of nations expanding very, very quickly. Areas like Arabia are already all filled in. India is well on its way. China, ripe for the picking for anybody who's going to be able to make it up, like Dai Viet, maybe even the Tibetan boys. Mongolia can probably push some land over here if they can cut off sour yogurt and Caradel. I don't think Muscovy is going to be doing too good considering the fact that their subjects are very much going to outscale them. And you love to see Big Albania and Big Byzantium giving the Ottomans a hug. I am a fan of that. So yeah, lots of nations are actually cutting off other nations. Castile has one port, so that's probably going to hold them back a bit. The Isles are filled in with Scotland and Leinster being the big winners, with England definitely losing some development to those guys. Up in the north, we've got Sweden and Norway doing okay, with Gotland getting some land up here in like Laponia, and a Dithmarschen snagging most of Jutland. I don't think France is going to be doing anything with their subjects anytime soon, because all of their subjects are bigger than them for the most part. And to be honest with you, India looks just as messy as it ever does in vanilla, though I doubt we're going to see the same blobs we normally do, like Bambanis, Vijay, Bengal, because there's a lot more variety. Perugia is over here getting beat up on by Salzburg, who's pretty dang big, got a lot of Austria land as well as Bologna, and their ally of the Pope man helping them out, but we'll see how things go with that. Purple farce alert, but yeah, getting gobbled up by Ajam and Luristan. They're probably going to get annexed if I had to guess. They've already lost some land over here to Hormuz, so rip purple farce. Should have been yellow, probably would have been doing better. And China is finally filled in with a couple of provinces left. Ming is probably the big winner, but Jirai, who I don't even know who they are, like one of these guys over here, taking a lot of South China, with Dai Viet actually getting pushed mostly out of Vietnam, and a couple of smaller guys over here. We're also seeing Siberia finished up with probably Perm or Oirat having the biggest names. I don't know if that means they're the best, though. But yeah, I don't think Muscovy is going to be able to come out of this on top. I don't think they're going to be doing good. But you can never count Muscovy out in EU4. Every single time I count them out in one of my videos, they form Russia and like just world domination. So I'm going to hold back. France seems to be faring better, but yeah, I don't think they're going to be doing good as far as getting them integrated. Though it's pretty cool to see nations that normally don't do much have their name be big, like Lucca, one province minor over here. Lads, I regret to inform you that the Ottomans have invaded. The Ottomans have invaded. And indeed, my worst fears have come to pass. Constantinople is in the Turkish hands. Even in this timeline with a little boost, the Ottomans, teeny little guys, still beat up on you, Byzantium. You're pathetic. So with everything we've got so far, with basically most, if not all, of the important provinces over here in the old world colonized, who you guys got? What's your pick for nations that you think will come out on top? Of course, anybody who's got good range to get to the New World is going to have a little bit of a boost. Even nations like Jolof, Portugal, Scotland, they're all going to have a good go at it. But if their colonial subjects get too big, they may bonk them. So I'm not sure. Then again, we could also just see like a random nation in the middle here come out on top. It really could go to anyone. And keep in mind that these guys over here can't colonize because they're all still tribal. They're not allowed to have colonists. It's like against game rules, I guess. Oh, Lord have mercy. What a beautiful blue that is. We've got Ludi on the map, lads. The Romanians are here. And I will not say anything because I'm not Romanian, so I can't make jokes about other people's cultures or else I'll get in trouble. So I'm not going to. Oh, and the Ottomans are blobbing. They just annexed Byzantium and I'm heartbroken about it. So I don't really want to talk about about it, to be honest. Mammies seem to have taken their lands and are pushing well up into the Levant and probably pushing all the way down to Mecca. And Ajam is actually coming out on top over here in Persia, pushing into the southern parts, but Mushasha seems to be racing them down along the coast there. Timmy still exists. Not much, but they do still exist. And yeah, Ming Explosion has happened. At least what bit of Ming Explosion could happen. And Korchin just snaking the crap out of China, man. We can see Edo over here took some land from Korea, and Korea took that personally, so they're taking it back. Though I do hate to see was this Ashikaga over here on Jeju, so hopefully they'll take that back as well. Time will tell. I'm always going to be a stan for Perfect Borders Korea. They're going to have to annex Jeonju for it, but hopefully they can do it. Down in India, it seems to be Orissa and Bamanis, kind of the major guys, with Sindh over here, though these provinces are pretty big, so not 100% sure on how good they're actually doing. Over in Africa, we've got Ethiopia doing the stuff over here, probably looking to conquer some land from Nubia. We've got Dahomies snaking around the border with Jolof touching tips over here in Guinea. And then down in south, we've got Mutapa migrating down from their gold mines over here into South Africa. So they're looking pretty good. We also have a Ducal Prussia, so that's pretty cool. And the HRE is definitely growing, though a lot of nations are not adding their provinces. So not 100% sure on why, but yeah, they're doing okay. Believe it or not, the Emperor is actually gaining quite a bit of imperial authority growth, but as soon as they die, they're going to lose it. Not sure why. So we may see a couple of reforms pass. I would definitely be a big fan of that. It's been 6 years. It's 1506. This province over here was colonized in August of 1499, so it's been 7 years, and Portugal has got basically all of South America outside of Colombia and Peru. They're colonizing very quickly. We likewise have Vinland up here in the north, same sort of scenario, colonized within the last year or so, they're doing very good. That will cause them to skyrocket in the Great Powers list, putting Portugal in the #1 Great Power list, which is just absolutely insane. Almost as insane as this Romania, pushing over into Crimea and up into Lithuania. Looking pretty dang good, but the Ottomans just to the south of them may have something to say about that one. Oh, and by the way, we've got Persia. Persia has formed from Ajam. Looking pretty dang good. Got to give a shout out to Theodora over here in Caucasia, as well as in their, Circassia homelands over here. Pretty sure they got a pretty slick mission tree in Winds of Change just this last patch, so that's pretty cool. They also just have a gorgeous map color. Big fan. Muscovy is a one-province minor in Vyazma. Don't even own Moskva anymore, so rip those guys. And I don't even know what to say about the border gore over here. I thought Korea was going to take this land from Edo. Turns out they actually lost land to Ashikaga. But how about Jirai? Jirai, the Vietnamese native over here, conquering northern China, or the coast of China. Looks like a peace deal from, Japan and China in Hearts of Iron 4. I'm a big fan. But without a doubt, my favorite thing so far is this, Tidor, with their capital up here in Mingen in northern Australia. I don't know what happened to them. I guess they decided to migrate from their homelands, which is over here. So I don't know, man. Also, with all this colonization, there's quite a bit of cloves over here. So I'm sure the trade is actually looking pretty solid. 27 in this node and 12 over here. Definitely looking good. 30 in the English Channel, 26 over in Genoa. We got 34 in Sevilla. Goodness gracious. And like I just showed, Portugal, #1 great power, followed by the Ottomans, the Mams, Persia, Jirai over in Vietnam, Romania, the #6 great power. Love to see it. With Mantua over in Italy, because Italy development is absolutely busted. Followed by England with a 259 development, the #8 great power. That is wonderful. And 10 years later, Portugal showing no signs of slowing down, except for up in the north. It does appear that the Norwegians have no signs of slowing down, but New Portugal, as well as Portuguese Louisiana, looking pretty good. But for some reason, they're good now. Portugal had a bunch of rebels just a minute ago. I wasn't sure what was causing that, but they seem to have come out on the other side doing okay. Unlike France, whose 2 provinces don't even have Paris anymore. Rip those guys. Of course, we do have the Reformation going on. Pretty weak so far. It's mostly just Norway is the center of Reformation. I believe Denmark is. And I think there's a third one somewhere over here, maybe like Hamburg. But yeah, no reform just yet. It's only like 15, 17 or something like that. So yeah, they're doing their thing. And actually, it does look like the Ottomans are converting lands over here. Unlike them, but pretty cool to see like the demographic changes. Also, shout out Shia Persia. Always pretty cool to see that. And yeah, there's actually quite a bit of conversion going on over here. I assume that it is actually from when they colonized the land. The land was taking on the religion of the colonizer. Still pretty cool though. Also, shout out Sikh. Love to see Sikh. There's actually Sikh nations. So that's sick. Or Sikh, if you will. New World, Catholic in the south, Protestant in the north. Makes sense. That's who's colonizing it. I did miss Norwegian West Indies and Norwegian Mexico down here in Colombia. So yeah, those are something we're going to have to keep our eyes on. And the HRE is doing okay. They've actually passed 3 reforms, but probably not going to pass anymore if I had to guess. And with Tech 10 right around the corner, I'm sure we're going to see some formables popping out of here aside from Romania, who's still going strong. Who you guys got? I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I don't think Portugal's going to be able to handle this colonial empire. I'm pretty sure they will lose their grip on it eventually. Well, we have Great Britain looking pretty good. We do also have a Russia, though not really sure what sort of capacity the Russia exists in. It's also not Muscovy Russia, because Muscovy's still a one province minor over here in Vyazma. But yeah, we've got Russia. Theodoro seemingly has carved out a little bit more land over here, though they're surrounded by a bunch of big, strong nations that I'm sure would boop them on the snoop if they move too suddenly. Korchin actually is the one who chose violence and conquered most of northern China, splitting it with Dai Viet. So Jirai, sorry, buddy, you are gone. And Ashikaga formed Japan, though they are still very disunited. Not looking very good. And Tidor formed Australia, so that is pretty dope. Not so dope, at least for Portugal, is that Brazil, Chile, as well as the United States have broken free from them. So we've got 3 independent New World post-colonial formable nations. I'm sure Finland and the Norwegian Mexicans will probably have to fight it out with the US. 2 fronts, though, might be a little tougher than expected. You guys know about Scotland, right? Scotland looking pretty good. And it's funny to see Poland, like long, skinny Poland here, snaked between Muscovy and some Silesian nations. That's pretty good. Looks like Aragon has also been eaten up by Navarra, by the looks of it. And Mantua is certainly the major power up here in northern Italy. Very well may see an Italy formable. Big fan of that. Of course, Persia, Romania, Ottomans, and the Mams all doing very good here in kind of this confluence of the continents. So very nice. And Reformed has shown up, though for some reason things are not, it's not reformed over here. I assume that they got the event that converts to their ruler's religion. If I had to guess, I actually don't know. But yeah, we've got a Catholic Great Britain with a Reformed dotted throughout, Protestant in the north, and, you know, kind of spotted throughout here, and a couple of Reformed nations, but overall very weak Reformation. We're a little over 100 years in, and 2 of the top great powers are New World nations, the US of A, and Brazil with the Ottomans, the number 3, followed by Great Britain at 730. They were at like 250 last we looked, so certainly have grown quite a bit. The Mams in 5th, Persia in the 6th, Mantua in the 7th, and Chile, the 3rd New World nation to pop out of Portugal, in the 8th spot. So yeah, certainly seeing a lot of development from the New World being represented. We'll see how things scale into the late game. And New World domination continues with Brazil growing, Chile growing, and the United States definitely growing. Great Britain has kicked Scotland out of Iceland, sadly, and it looks like Russia is actually growing, if you can believe it. I believe that somebody formed France, probably Burgundy. Not 100% sure actually who would have done that, but Navarra almost has the exact same borders that they had like 100 years ago, which pretty funny. Otto is doing okay, but kind of a failure to launch overall, with Romania very much crumbling. They were huge, and now they ain't so huge. Unlike Austria, they're doing good. They're snaking a bit, but they're doing good. Better than 1444. And whatever is going on over here, they got to keep it up. Persia looking peak over here, except for Bitless. You got to annex those guys. India's still pretty messy with Orissa is kind of the big guy, maybe Bamanis, and of course Persia. But China and East Asia just very messy. Looks like Korchin has annexed a bit more land, maybe. But Dai Viet still doing pretty good over here in South China. They've even taken back some of their homeland, so shout out Dai Viet. Spice Islands still pretty much what they were before, and a bit more of the same for Africa as well. Sadly, Dahome's got annexed, which hurts me, but you know, it is what it is. Norway being full occupied by Russia is probably not a good look for their subjects, with the USA over here booping Finland. Probably going to see them conquering some land. It's like in the Fallout universe, right? Like the Great Resource Wars or whatever. The US annexes Canada, based, as the kids say. And yeah, the Reformation is gone, though Great Britain ended up going Reformed again. So things are really strange over here, but Reformed is okay. Protestantism is pretty weak. Catholicism going strong. So Theodoro also still going strong. At about the halfway mark, we've got the USA out, still the number 1 great power. Back-to-back World War champions and all that, with Persia the number 2 great power, Brazil falling to the number 3 from the number 2, The Mayhems still in the fourth great power, with Great Britain dropping a bit. They were 250. They went up to like 700. Now they're up to 1267. Mantua still in the great powers list over there in Italy, with France newly formed in the 7th spot, and the Ottomans dropping down to the 8th, still over 1,000 development. So they are down, but you cannot count them out. The age of revolutions is upon us, with Italy forming and looking like something Mussolini would definitely like to see, except for maybe South Tyrol. But the rest, I'm sure he'd probably be pretty gung-ho for. They've even got their colonial stuff in, you know, Libya and Iberia. How about that France? Right next to Flanders. Both looking pretty good. Mainz, Munster, both blobby as heck. But Poland, not sure what happened here, but yeah, Poland looking really, really good. And Russia, who, like I said, you cannot count them out. They will somehow, some way end up on the map and do decent. Like, this is very respectable. Shout out Russia. Theodoro's still hanging out here, and there's a conspicuous lack of Ottomans. They were a great power, but I imagine decadence got to them. They did. Though it is fun seeing Romania, 3 provinces here. That's pretty good. Persia decided to choose violence on the Indian subcontinent, looking pretty big over here. And China has been exactly the same, basically, for like another 100 years, with Dai Viet deciding that Ayutthaya was actually rightful Dai Viet clay. Japan has also united a lot more. There's 1 province left, and they kept all the land they had in Korea. So Japan having a good game. Across the pond, Brazil continues to push up over here into Nicaragua, I believe it is, with the United States cleaning up Manifest Destiny outside of Portuguese Alaska, which is a thing, Norwegian West Indies, though they do have American Caribbeans. So there you go. And I do love seeing Austria just do this. Whatever this is, I'm a fan of this. Also, the like Muscovy pox that Poland has, I hope they get better soon. The Reformation is all but squished, with some Protestant here and a couple of pockets, but for the most part, it's all Catholic. Even the New World, all Catholic, outside of the Norwegian stuff over here, which is Protestant, but you know, to be expected. Though no sweat, Australians, they're Hindu this time around, which is pretty sick. I like that. In fact, a lot of the land over here in Indonesia is Hindu. Usually Sunni is the major religion, but yep, we've got lots of Hindu. Just like we got a lot of Mahayana Buddhism over here, which generally is only like right here and maybe in Korea, I think. Maybe a little bit over here, but yeah, pretty cool to see all of southern China, this branch of Buddhism. Just like a big Shia. Big Shia Persia. Very nice. Also crazy to see Catholic Greece. Lots of conversions going on over here. And we do have our first hegemon over here, the naval hegemon of the world. They've got aircraft carriers a couple hundred years early. The Americans here, the number 1 great power, still by a long shot, over 1,000 more development than France, the number 2 power, with Russia behind them. France and Russia, man. Can't say that I saw them in the top 8, let alone the top 3, but we do have Italy, who formed by Mantua in the 4th spot, with Persia in the 5th, Mamluks in the 6th, Austria climbing up into that 7th spot, and how about Poland? Almost 2,000 friggin' development in the 8th, looking really good. Lads, we've got some interesting stuff to take a look at here. US didn't really do a whole lot, not that I could tell. Maybe conquered a little bit more land over here. Brazil also left Chile alone. Lil bro is just chilling down there. Africa is basically untouched. It looks incredibly similar to what it did before, except for maybe Ethiopia falling to the Mamluks, but the Mamluks are falling to, you know, a bunch of people over here, namely to Italy and their junior partner of France. Because, of course, the von Habsburgs are in Italy and in France. But how about Kazakhstan? Greatest country in the world. Currently beating the tar out of Dai Viet, who's also getting beat up on by Persia. I think they might be allied, which is just literally not fair. It's like half of 3/4 of Asia. So yeah, rip those guys. Borders are just so similar in some places, yet so different in others. Of course, Romania is gone. We have Austria-Hungary, but they have no land in Austria and not a whole lot of land in Hungary, to be honest. The Russians have even crossed over here, and it looks like they're probably going to make their way down this way, though they'll have to beat Italy out for that. And we actually have 2 hegemons here. The military hegemon, who's actually got a larger navy than the naval hegemon. And would you believe me if I told you that both of these guys have over 2 million troops? Persia and America both have over 2 million troops. You ever seen so many troops that it overflows and you actually get a negative? Because that's what we got going on here, which is insanity when you consider the development over here versus like over here versus over here. Like, how much red and orange do you have in one area? And it's like these guys equal roughly these guys, which equals roughly this. I mean, the provinces and the development in Europe is just second to none. We finished with the Ruskies being basically the only Orthodox lads, reformed basically only Great Britain, and the rest of the Christian world is all Catholic, outside of the single Norwegian West Indies, who is still a subject of Norway, by the way, a PU under Denmark. one province minor over here. 2 provinces, I'm sorry. They're actually twice as big as I thought they were. The Buddhists over in China actually doing really good with Confucianism all but gone, which is just pretty crazy to see. Coptic sadly had a bit of a downfall with Sunni definitely ruling the day over here in Africa, though. Shout out Abadi, always happy to see the little underdog guys doing well. Looks like we've got some culture conversions going on over here. A little bit of Austrian over here, a little bit of Austrian over here, but the Bavarians definitely seem to have pushed the Austrians out of their homeland, and the Baltans have pushed, you know, the Lithuanians and them out of theirs. Oh, and the Saxons up here in Jutland. Though keep in mind, this would also be from, you know, colonization. There's a reason why this is all Irish, right? Pretty cool to see the spread of the Italians. Like, it's kind of spread out all over the place. We got Venetian, we got Neapolitan, Tuscan, Umbrian over here in the central portions, even the Tuscans over here in the Balearic Islands. Big Basque country this time around. We've got a little bit less Greeks, a little bit more Turks, but you know, same thing, am I right? Pretty interesting to see the culture groups over here. We've got this Zhangchua, or however that is pronounced, Cham, which is down here, an Indonesian culture, Vietnamese over here, and then Tibetan all the way over there. That is sick. I love that. South America, very Portuguese and Brazilian, but North America, Portuguese split with Norwegian. And America is a Portuguese culture nation. So as it turns out, lots of cool stuff happens when you have only capitals. And I definitely would like to do more Colonize Please content in the future. I know these videos were super popular a while back when I did them before. A lot of stuff has changed in the last couple of years for the game, and I'm happy to revisit them. If you have a certain scenario you'd like to see, make sure you let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, because you're missing out on a ton of content if you're not already. I appreciate you making it all the way to the end of the video. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one.